Hey, El Paso, Texas. This is Ruben, your conservative candidate for Congressional District, Texas, District 16th. Listen, so I was talking to a friend of mine earlier. He's from the left, and he was asking me about the inflation from the the thing is that he didn't understand why house prices haven't gone down. So I had to explain to him the number of people that came in. And you can argue whether they had a right to come here or not. For this conversation. That's not important for this conversation. But the conservative estimates are about 30 million came in, 30 to 50 million. So those are conservative estimates because again, the Biden administration was so reckless that they didn't keep tabs on anybody. It seems like whoever wanted to come in, they could come in. I'm sure those of you in El Paso remember that infamous video where people had their own wire cutters and they just came in, pushed the National Guard out of the way, and they didn't care. And I think some judges said they couldn't hold any of them back because something was not done properly. And I was okay. Well, they're not coming in proper. Well, they're not coming in properly, but they want a proper way to send them out. So it's just kind of like a weird conversation. They break the law to come in. They didn't follow any rules, but for them to be deported, they want the government to follow all the rules. But anyways, so between 30 and 50 million people came in. Whether you thought that was right or not, again, that's for this conversation. I'm going to leave that out of the way. But so let's say a number in between there, 40 million. So the population of the United States is 350 million. So if like 40 million people came in, that's about a tenth of the population of the United States that all of a sudden just came over here. So if all of a sudden 40 million people need somewhere to live in, that's going to put inflationary pressures on all the housing because all of a sudden people need those houses. So that's one of the reasons that I've read up on and studied, and that's why house prices went up because all of a sudden you had 40 million people that just came in again without any readiness from the Democrats. Biden just said surge the border. So these guys listened to Comrade Biden they listened to Joe, and then they came in. So that's 40 million people. So that's 40 million people that all of a sudden were put into households, and a lot of these households were being paid for with courtesy of your tax dollars. So and we also saw that in El Paso. I know El Paso had a fund, emergency fund, I think, for whenever there were surges. El Paso decided that it was a good idea to use emergency funds to go ahead and to have its workers become travel agents. I know they were booking buses and hotels. I think at one time they had full hotels to capacity just for the migrants. So yeah, if you have money to be a travel agent, you're probably taxing the people of El Paso too much. And that's one thing that needs to be addressed. If you're going to be running for any sort of office that's going to impact El Paso, you need to find out how the money is misspent and give examples, not just say, oh, I want to make this place better, I want to do this. I've heard some candidates say that what they're going to do to lower inflation and for a lot of times it involves more government. So we don't need more government. You just need to enforce the laws that are on the books. Every time you say you're going to involve more government to fix things, you're probably going to make things worse. So how about just follow the law? We don't need more government. We need less government. So it's really important that people read up on all these things, study these things, and know what they're talking about. I also hear a lot of candidates say, I'm going to bring more jobs. Well, you know what? The Democrats say that too. Okay, this is what I think. If you're going to bring more jobs, you need to let people spend more of their money. If people can spend more of their money, you can let jobs come over here. I have a problem with people saying, I'm going to bring jobs over here, because you have the problem of crony capitalism. When you start picking the winners and the losers, that's not true capitalism. That you're trading a fine line between capitalism and crony capitalism. I think if people keep most of their money through lower taxes, people always ask me, how are you going to lower taxes? Well, have you looked at Minnesota? That's a great start. And I'll ask you again, do you think Minnesota is the only place this is happening at? So no, when it comes to cutting, there's plenty of places to cut. If you just start with a fraud alone, you can cut plenty of it. Okay. And as far as far as jobs go, we need to be true capitalists. We need to be a market economy. That's what we believe in. That's what our principles are. Market economy, where you, the consumer, picks the winners and the losers. Not government. Not you bringing more jobs because you know people or whatever. I mean, we know what's going on every time people bring companies over here. Perfect example is the Democrats bringing Meta with that huge tax break that they're going to give them, okay, like an 85% tax break. You know who needs that tax break? The El Paso homeowners need that tax break. But no, they're getting, and then of course they always say that the Republicans are giving the tax breaks to their billionaire friends. And the perfect example of that being a lie is El Paso County. All the huge tax breaks go to the Democrat billionaire friends. So I'm just hoping that we come to our senses, that we fix all the things that are wrong in El Paso with ideas, with real solutions. Not, oh, I'm going to bring jobs over here. Oh, I'm going to do this. How are you going to do it? Like I said, bring in jobs over here. If you let people keep more of their money, you need to let the citizens pick the winners and losers, not the politicians. We don't need more government to bring in jobs. You need less government. You need people keeping more of their money, and that way the jobs are created the way they're supposed to, through true capitalism, not crony capitalism or any of that stuff. El Paso, I hope you all had a great Sunday, and you have a great initial start of the week tomorrow. Have a great day. Have a great night.